An old man, a boy and an ox were hand-carved on an area smaller than sesame seeds. The size of this grain of rice is 6.25 times 2.99 millimeters. The entire handmade micro-carving is equivalent to the size of the rice grain area. The size of this sesame is 3.62 times 2.1 millimeters. An old man, a boy and an ox were hand-carved in an area equivalent to the size of sesame seeds. The size of the entire handmade micro-carving is only 5.92 times 3.25 square millimeters. Including an old man, a boy and an ox, 15 Chinese calligraphy fonts and 4 seals. The size of an old man, a boy and an ox hand-carved is only 2.31 times 2.32 square millimeters. The size of the hand-carved boy and bull is only 0.93 times 1.37 square millimeters. The size of an old man hand-carved is only 1.72 times 1.09 square millimeters. The size of the boy's head is only 0.26 times 0.27 square millimeters. It is equivalent to 1/14 of a square millimeter. The size of the horn of this bull is only about 0.45 times 0.50 square millimeters, including the horn and head, 2 eyes, nose and mouth of the bull. It is equivalent to 1/4 of a square millimeter. The size of the old man's head is only about 0.41 times 0.28 square millimeters, including an eye, mouth, nose, and beard. It is equivalent to 1/8 of a square millimeter. The size of an eye is only about 0.015 times 0.03 square millimeters. It is equivalent to 1/2222 of a square millimeter. The size of the other eye is only about 0.07 times 0.08 square millimeters, including the eyes and eyebrows. It is equivalent to 1/178 of a square millimeter. On the right is a hand-carved font on human hair. The width of human hair is generally about 0.1 millimeters, and the widest is about 0.17 millimeters. It is difficult to engrave fonts on hair with a width of less than 0.08 millimeters. The width of pig bristles is generally about 0.25 millimeters. The width between the eyes of the elderly is only about 0.13 millimeters, even the width of the face. It is equivalent to the width of a human hair. The size of a shoe of this boy is only 0.08 times 0.24 square millimeters. It is equivalent to 1/52 of a square millimeter. The size of this bull's hoof is only 0.14 times 0.13 square millimeters. It is equivalent to 1/55 of a square millimeter, and its height and width are equivalent to the width of a human hair. The size of 1 foot of this old man is only 0.14 times 0.27 square millimeters. It is equivalent to 1/26 of a square millimeter, and the height is equivalent to the width of a human hair. More. The perfect drawings are hand-carved on extremely small areas, such as smaller than rice grains, smaller than sesame seeds, and even within square millimeters. When the micro-carving is enlarged to a 4K picture, the first impression you might think is a perfect drawing, but they are indeed incomparable micro-carvings.